Hello, Tim Crosby here. Today is a topic, like many of my topics, suggested just recently by some of my students. And I thought it would be nice to go on and on about it a little bit more. What we're going to talk about are pentatonic scale patterns on the mandolin, which after we go through it, you'll start to recognize that probably most of the mandolin playing you may have heard is all pentatonic scales. So they're pretty simple. They represent a huge amount of what goes into the kind of music that's often played on the mandolin. So we'll just start right in. I'm going to use two keys for my example. I'm going to use G, which is an easy open pattern, and then we're going to move it up 2 frets and do the same sort of thing in the key of A. So here's the basics of it. It starts, like all scales do in our Western music, with the do-re-mi scale, which is made up of 7 notes plus then the 8th note, which is the octave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again. Pentatonic, as you might realize, has 5 notes in it. So what do we do with those 7 notes? We leave 2 of them out. There's a couple of ways to think about this. One is to leave out the 4th note in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to leave out that note. Happens to be a C note. And we're going to leave out the 7th note. 5, 6, 7. We're going to leave that one out. 8. So now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. And that's what makes our pentatonic scale. One of the ways of thinking about it, on the mandolin, which it's because it's very pattern oriented, you can also just think about it and learn it in some scale patterns. And I've got a little visual. Let me get the visual up here and I'll bring it back up in just a little bit. Here are the patterns I'm going to talk about. So this first octave, the low strings octave of the G, is the open pattern. A step forward from that, once you get this on the G and the D string to make 1 octave of a G scale, you'll realize you can move that pattern over to the D string and then over to the A string and do that same pattern and have a pentatonic scale. So here's the pattern. Open, second, if I could hit it right, open, 2nd fret, 4th fret, and then we're going to move to the next string, open, 2nd fret, 5th fret, 0, 2, 4, 0, 2, 5. Oh, there's a tune made out of the pentatonic scale. So 0, 2, 4, 0, 2, 5. And here's the next pattern. Because we're in G and we still have 2 more strings that we haven't used, what's the pattern to take that up to the next higher octave? And that is, you'll have to scroll backward. Let's look at it again. Look at that next pattern, which is, I labeled it the 5th fret pattern. So now our home note, that G, is not an open string, but rather it's the 5th fret on the D string. So how do we get there? 0, 2, 4, 0, 2, 5. So now we're going to start here, and now the pattern goes 5, open, 2, 5, open, 3. 5, open, 2, 5, open, 3. So now we can go 2 octaves in the key of G. Open, 2, 4. Bonus points, you can maybe even reach up a little higher. And take 2 more notes, the 1 and the 3 of the next octave up, and unless you want to shift, you can't go any higher than that. So So the open pattern and then the 5th fret pattern fit together in the key of G to make 2 octaves of that pentatonic scale. The third one that I want to talk about is when you start on the 2nd fret. That's the one down below there. So that first one on the open is G. Now we're going to start on A. And it shifts everything up 2 frets, but now our open strings, since we're sticking with scale patterns that have an open string in them for convenience sake, now the pattern changes. So now it's 2, 4, 6, open, 2, 4, and then open. Good. And there's that pentatonic scale pattern starting on the 2nd fret. But you say, Tim, wait, we still have 2 more strings we haven't used, and our home note when we get to the high end of that scale. Now we've got an open string, and we can go back to the open string pattern. Yeah. So 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, open. Did I say earlier that there was an open in there? No, we're skipping that open D string just to make sure. Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, open. And then open, 2, 4, open, 2, 5. And there are your pentatonic scales in the key of G and the key of A, 2 octaves each. And like I said, like with the open 2, 4, open 2, 5 pattern, you can move it over strings. If we started on D, you still get a D pentatonic scale now. Get another half a scale above it, and a half a scale below. And there, notes out of the pentatonic scale in the key of D to make Soldier's Joy, or a gazillion fiddle tunes. Many of them are this. So mess around with that. A bug in your ear. We may revisit the topic of pentatonic scales and talk about the minor pentatonic scales. If you want to do your own research and figuring out the minor pentatonic scale that's related to the major pentatonic scale uses the same notes. Relative minors, relative majors. But that's a topic for another day. Glad you were here. Hope this is helpful. I'm Tim Crosby. Thanks.